All right, that's what's up. That's what's up. Okay, so my boy Scoochie says, let me delete this real quick. My boy Scoochie says, Kay, what's your take on selling beats one-off? I was asked about this recently and about mine recently, but I'm wondering if saving them for my own projects is more beneficial career growth wise. You know what? I have a very unique take on this, and I'll tell you exactly how I feel about it. Should you save your best beats for you or give them to someone else? And my answer is probably going to be very unique. The reason is because I learned that music is a service business. Now, here's the unique thing about music, right? Let me mute this real quick. So, I have a very unique take on this. Mute this off as well. Mute this as well. So, I remember making a bunch of beats early on in my career, and I realized I would make a lot of them, but I never had an intention about those tracks. So a lot of those beats would sit until every once in a while I would come across a project where these beats would sit. And so after time, I started recognizing that my voice was hidden within the projects that I dropped. Like, what I wanted to say was hidden within taking all the music that I really liked and putting it into a body of work. But every once in a while, there are tracks that I don't think represent my voice, but I think represent other people's voices as well. And so, after realizing that music is a service business, I realized every time I've worked with somebody, every time I've sent someone tracks, I've always been in a empty state. Not empty in the saying like, oh, I'm empty, I don't have any ideas, but like empty in it being that I did what I was inspired to do, and I gave someone this energy and this concept. And so the way that I look at it is the same way you would send music to a rapper, right? You know how people be like, oh, I'm gonna send this beat to a rapper, and hopefully that rapper raps over it. Now, here's the catch. If that rapper does not respond back in an adequate amount of time, there's a possibility that that track will end up in somebody else's hands. So I'm utilizing and equating that you are the other person. If you sent the idea to someone and they don't grasp that concept, you ultimately made it for you. If you don't put it out, it will become someone else's. Just think about it. Because someone's going to hear it, you're going to play it, and be like, oh, you know. But it's the choice is really ultimately in your hands, because music is a service business. And if you're going to serve someone, either you're serving yourself or you're serving someone else. So when it comes to selling one-off beats, like selling one-off, that track has to be something where it's like, I really don't know anything else I could potentially say to this idea. That's why a lot of my placements happen, because a lot of those tracks were once other people's ideas. Like, for instance, the joint that I made for what's his name? Shucks, why am I forgetting it? Buddy, Like This. When we did Like This for Buddy, that beat was originally for, and I think I talked about it before. It was for Fanya. It was Fauna Hughes. My bad, not Fanya. My bad, I'm so sorry. Fauna Hughes. And I remember making it, sat down with her. She was vibing and everything. And then her friend came in and, you know, decided to flip the whole flow. And nothing wrong with that. It's just I realized that idea and that energy was not intended for the room. But when Buddy heard it, he sat there and listened to it for 10 hours straight. We knew he had a great idea. I knew I had a great idea with him, and I felt very passionate about it. Wahid's Will, yeah, that was another one that was like kind of like sitting for a bit. We made that, in one day. We just never like revisited it until like way after the fact. But the song was already cut and done. As soon as we made it, we knew that was gonna be out. It's just a matter of when. Yeah, 10 hours is crazy work. But I say all this to say, you ultimately make your ideas for you first. If it's not for you first, then give it to someone else. Die empty. Die empty. Jazzy Jeff said it better than anybody else can. He talked about how Jay Dilla, you know, made so many beats, and it's crazy because nowadays people are finding Jay Dilla's beats sitting on beat CDs underneath their basement, and they're like, yo, how in the world yo, that's crazy. How do you vet artists that reach out to you for beats? Let's see here. You know, so like, I realize that there are certain people, like certain artists, that kind of have the same kind of energy. I think musically, I think there are people that like, specifically, you know how you hear music from someone else, and somehow, some way, they kind of scratch that part of your brain that would make you think you would probably do that idea, but it just turns out way better in someone else's hands. That's when I usually vet people. I usually vet people because they're speaking the same language as I, right? And so every person I've ever worked with has always spoken the same language as me. Not saying that I'm like the blueprint, but like, if they speak the same language, I speak the same language, and we have the same intention, all that's gonna come out of it is just genuineness, because there's nothing more than just that, being genuine. So I think I vet off of the genuine sincerity of people's hearts whenever I work with them, or just the sincerity in what they like when they talk about, like what they talk about, you know? And so if what they talk about lines up with me, and I line up sound wise with whatever they're going for, I find myself producing for that person 9 times out of 10. And sometimes it happens by accident. It happens by, you know, what's the first one we did? I think that's the craziest part about the Merges joint, because that was the first, well, I'll take that back. That wasn't the first joint I made with Merges. That was the second one I made with Merges. The first one we did was a K-pop demo that had like 100 vocals on it. But that one for Cool was a basic drum track, some chords, bass line, and her acapella slightly just tuned up a little bit. So, yeah, if they speak the same language as you, if you could talk to an artist not about music and just kind of correlate with them as a regular person, you might have cracked the code with someone that you're going to have around for a very, very long time. Prayerfully a lifetime. That's how I've met all the people that I know in my life with music, creativity. We all speak the same language. And actually, it's kind of crazy because I had a realization with relationships, and I was like, man. And this is gonna be some gangster stuff. I'm gonna tell y'all real quick. This is gonna be some game. I'm gonna tell y'all. I realized that all of my like, at that time in my life, the best relationships I've ever had have been with people who make music. Some of the best relationships I've had at the time were people who were into the same things, wanted to do the same things, and had a similar vision for what they wanted to accomplish. So it was like that passion for making something, that passion for creating. So I found myself having really great friendships with people who know how to make stuff. And then somehow, some way, there was a disconnect whenever there was an actual relationship. But then I had a realization. What if I intentionally look at my relationships, like being with people, dating, like how I create with my friends? Because I realized my friends are kind of like the kind of equator. And I realized all of my friendships in music are successful. And if my friendships in music are successful, or my friendships in creating life, creating things what would it take inside of me to look for something or come across something or be identified with something that has the same passion, you know? And if you can find someone with the same passion, the same drive, the same energy, you, my friend, have found a gold mine, okay? So I realized that with music has taught me a lot about life, and I think that is the number one thing. I hope that answers your question, man. I'm just kind of rambling at this point. I didn't talk at the beginning of the stream, so yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, so my boy Scoochie says in the beginning, it's tempting to just take the offer. Beggars can't be choosers. Exactly. So with that being said, let's go and let's cook up another one. I'm excited. Let's go ahead and save this, turn this up. This is a crazy drum